But what I'm trying to pull out is the attitude of these people. And the attitude of just not accepting what we're doing. And it's on high security when it's just women and children. It's really disappointing. Apparently when everybody shows up for mealtime, some of the guards in Spanish start to call them cerdos and starts calling them pigs. Come line up, piggies, for food. And they also call them the dog chow line. I just didn't even know, I didn't even know what to say to this lady. She's like, they call us names all the time, and we can complain a lot about conditions when they're not fed, when they don't have shampoo, but just the comments that they're made just to feel unwelcome, and especially when they're here because something's going on in their country, and they're treated like inhumane and like they're federal convicts in Leavenworth. And it's as horrible as we're saying, and even more.
I saw 14 people, I think, which is about, 8 more than I saw yesterday. And the guards were still apparently complaining that we're taking too long with everybody and we're making them cry, and we need to not talk so much about such emotional things, as if, they're applying for asylum, and some of that stuff is pretty icky to deal with, but that apparently isn't appropriate, and we're smashed in there, and there's no space and there's no privacy, and anyways, the conditions are pretty bad, and it's pretty bad to work in those conditions and have to have your client say, can you tell me the details of your sexual assault and how many times your husband used to rape you, when there's someone sitting 2 feet next to you and 2 feet on this side and right behind you, and she's turning bright red, and she's like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really very comfortable talking about that. And then at the same time, we're all sitting, after they finally got us back there, all of a sudden the manager person of the area that we were in just decided that, there was too many people in there, and he took all of our clients away. And so then he said, well, we'll bring them back when you need them, but then only brought them back a few at a time because he was rationing them out or something. And some people didn't come back, and who knows why they didn't come back. But one person, by the time she came back, she was crying and her kid was crying, and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, well, my son's so hungry, he's been crying, and it makes me so sad. And then of course that made me cry, and then we're all sitting there crying. And she was someone that hadn't had a lawyer. She'd gotten denied on her first credible fear. She's got a domestic violence claim. This person didn't ask her anything about her domestic violence claim in the first one. It should have been granted at the first credible fear interview, and she'd been asking to see a lawyer and asking to see a lawyer, and she finally got in to see a lawyer, and her credible fear review in front of the judge is Friday.
This is not an environment in which you can put somebody in and expect them to feel like they have the freedom to make a choice about whether they're going to go forward on their own on a claim that could really mean their life, like a life or death situation for her. When you have an officer with a badge and an ICE agent who's been telling them where to go and when they can go to the bathroom, it's not really an environment where somebody feels free. But rules change every day. I was telling somebody, I've been practicing for 16 years. I feel like I'm a first-year lawyer. I'm getting stupid forms returned to me because I don't check a box right because they changed the rule about that. I'm finding out I'm expected to just roll with not having no notice about hearings. Maybe your client will have a hearing, maybe they won't. And if we decide that they're going to have one, we're just going to make it go forward. You have arguments being made that would be laughable in regular court, laughable. There are clearly established standards for things like when people get released on bond. All we should be talking about is this person going to show up for their hearing, or are they flight risk? And suddenly it becomes okay to make a fantastic argument, purely hypothetical, about how everybody's suddenly a threat to U.S. security. These are arguments that would never fly. And to sit around and see people take them seriously that is surprising to me. You certainly have created an environment where the most difficult thing that's ever happened to you, and you're telling it to a complete stranger, is just made that much more difficult.